Let's go.
Hey everyone, I'm MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the new Borderlands movie that just got released in theaters worldwide. So I highly recommend you guys go and check out my previous video that I did on the new Borderlands movie. And in that video, I covered that the Borderlands movie had very low ticket sales that it was actually selling on the various, movie websites where people go and actually buy tickets. They were actually tracking really, really low. And then the movie also debuted on Rotten Tomatoes because the review embargo had lifted to a 0% score. The only person at the time of me recording that video that gave the film a positive review was Grace Randolph. Now, I also mentioned in the video that on Rotten Tomatoes, you can literally choose to show your score. So if she truly believes it's honestly one of those those movies that are so bad they're good, well, put your score there, put your money where your mouth is. But she didn't, so that kind of leads me to believe that she's not really thinking this movie's actually so good it's bad. She probably just wants to be on that I'm gonna be different crowd, So there are other things I wanted to cover in this video to follow up the other one. The first thing is the movie's budget, actually. So the movie's budget rumored was between 110 million to 120 million, but Deadline had actually covered the real price of what the movie cost to make. Now keep in mind, when you put a big blockbuster tentpole out there like this one, and this is what I explain to people constantly, the big blockbuster tentpoles are supposed to come out and obviously make a lot of money, profit, not just break even, because that's very important to understand. Movies are made to make profit, not break even. Breaking even means you lost, okay? Then that blockbuster tentpole and several others are supposed to attract more people to the cinemas to watch. So your obscure movie that gets released that doesn't have any name value to it, well, if someone watched this, then they'll be inclined to be like, okay, I'll go watch this other movie. But if movies like this come out and they are bad, I'm not saying it is bad, I haven't watched it yet, I'm gonna go watch it this weekend actually. Well, if movies like this come out that are bad, then other people aren't gonna wanna go check out other things. So these big blockbuster tentpoles being bad really is a super hindrance on movie theaters. They pretty much basically have to be good to start attracting other people to go to the theaters to watch not just the big blockbuster tentpole, but the other films as well. Okay, this is what also people don't understand. A movie has a budget and you have to factor in marketing costs. Then the movie also has distribution costs. Then you have to factor in the theaters in any territory it got released in all get their cut, right? So that means movies like this have taken a massive amount of money. So the service level number that you see there, depending on what movie it is, depending on what year, based off inflation and several other factors, not including marketing, they have to make a lot of money. And some of them that have, if you go back and really look, didn't really also perform as well. So the Borderlands movie, the film, Deadline added, had a production budget of 120 million to 130 million. With an additional 30 million spent on prints and advertising costs, which is just basically marketing. Rated PG-13, Borderlands opens Friday in theaters nationwide. But we're not going to cover the box office yet for Friday. We're going to cover it for the Thursday night previews, which shows this movie is going to flop massively. So keep in mind what's there. An additional 30 million. So let's do low end costs right here, okay? Let's say 20 million. People usually say you got to make roughly about 2 to 3 times your budget back. I usually always say 3 because of the other factors I just told you previously. Let's go 3 times your budget, right? That means this movie to break even, minimum, you got to hit $360 million, okay? Now, I didn't even put the marketing cost in there, okay? Now, for profit, this would have to be around $700 million if you're factoring in getting everybody paid that needs a cut, right? Not factoring in all the theaters, because movies like this get released in the highest amount of theaters, which is between 3,000 to 4,000 theaters, right? Nationwide and also worldwide as well, okay? So let's go back. So we're gonna do 120 plus 30 million, okay? So it's 150 million dollars, right? When you're factoring in marketing times 3, the film to break even has to make 450 million dollars. If you're factoring in that number right there, is that's the breaking even point portion of it. It would need about around $800 million to really bring in some profit. You know, like movie production budgets have skyrocketed actually, and maybe I'm highballing it or lowballing it too much, but it's gotta be around that range, given the fact that there's so many hands in the cookie jars when it comes to some of these big blockbuster tentpoles. So then the other part of yesterday's video that I went over is that this movie was obviously tracking very low ticket sales and struggling to sell. Then you had all the critics basically come out and be like, hey, yeah, this movie is not good. Then the movie debuted, obviously, on Rotten Tomatoes, like I said before, with a 0%. It's now at a 9% tomato meter. We can read some of the reviews there as well. So, Dana Han Keelan, Blanchett is stuck throughout with a smirk passed onto her flawless face. We assume it's masking her soul slowly being cursed. Newcomers and longtime fans alike will find themselves questioning the quality of the game after witnessing this catastrophe. Eric Goldman says, Borderlands just doesn't work. It's one of those movies where nothing is clicking together and you just feel scenes sitting there. Johnny Olensky says, there's hardly any character development or dramatic peaks and valleys in Borderlands to hold the viewer's interest, even for such a brief runtime. Andrea Garcia, the cast is top-notch, and the connection between Tiny Tina and Lilith is one of the most striking points. And see how right here, all the critics are putting down their scores? You see right there, score. Some of them don't, but the ones that really want to put their, money where their mouth is are putting on a score like this is bad, right? So then you also got the video of Eli Roth basically going like, hey, I kind of wanted to make this kind of movie, this kind of movie, and this kind of movie. And it's like, if you want to go make those movies, well, go make those movies. Because people always say the things like, well, why are fans of these kind of franchises so mad when people want to try different things? I will say this, you can do slightly different stuff. I'm not saying you can't, but there's a big but with that. The problem with doing that is that most of the time, they're not really fans of the material of what they're adapting. Keep in mind, you're adapting an already established franchise with tropes and, good and bad that comes with doing that, okay? If someone doesn't want to absolve whatever franchise for what it has to offer, then you need to just not do it. Like, because why are you making a movie if you're not really that invested to it? But these guys are mostly hired to direct something, and they're doing it for the money, obviously, which makes sense from that point of view. But that's the reason why a lot of movies that are based off of popular video games or book series or whatever tend to not do well in live action, because the people that are behind it do not have passion for the project, and they say things like he did that I covered in my last video, where they basically are trying to use these kind of franchises that are popular as like a step stool to get to the bigger franchise that they want. And that's the reason why films like this would suffer. So now, I'm gonna go over the Thursday night previews. So keep in mind, I always want to make sure I mention this because most people probably don't know. And if you do know, that's good. But if you don't know, I'll help you out with this. New movies get released Thursday, sometimes Wednesday, depending on where you're at. But the Thursday night previews is where you can obviously go and watch the newest movie if you don't have time to go on the weekend because you have family and all the other stuff you got to do, like work and any other life obligations, right? So what number did Borderlands kick off its Thursday night previews with? Borderlands' deadly early box office results for the Eli Roth adaptation. Eli Roth's pricey adaptation of the video game franchise Borderlands only earned just over $1 million in its Thursday night previews. Did we just hear that right? This movie made $1 million in Thursday night previews? That's fucking hell. Oh my god. That's about as bad as that movie with Hugh Jackman and that lady from Mission Impossible. Oh my god. Rebecca Ferguson. Is that her name? I think it's so. Oh my god. It's that movie Reminiscence. That movie opened to like $1 million opening weekend too. Let's see. I think pretty sure yes, Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca Ferguson. Yeah. It's the movie with her and Hugh Jackman, the one that released directly on HBO Max and theaters day and date back in 2021. Like absolutely just straight up abysmal opening for that movie right there. So yeah, if your movie has a 1 million Thursday night preview, that means this movie is probably only going to take in like 10 million opening weekend, and that would be a flop. Because people, this is why you need to understand this. The reason why big blockbuster movies tend to make more money is because they're very front loaded, right? So everyone that wants to see it will see it. Then, if it's good and the word of mouth spreads and it's good and it's watchable, well, the word of mouth will spread, and then more people are going to go watch it. And then after that, it's just repeat viewings, right? Then you must also consider the fact that the movies like this are very front loaded. So the bulk amount of money you're going to make is in that opening weekend. And if they can't even scratch anywhere between $100 million opening weekend, this will bomb really bad, like extremely bad. $1 million in Thursday night previews. $1 million is nothing. They probably spent more than that on just all these guys' paychecks to pay them to even be in the movie, actually. The early box office numbers are starting to roll in for the weekend, while the Blake Lively adaptation of Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us looks like it might become one of the summer's biggest sleeper hits. With its 7 million preview night, the outlook isn't quite so rosy for the pricey video game adaptation Borderlands. What's really crazy is that Blake Lively, who's Ryan Reynolds' wife, is also going to be competing with him in the box office right now with Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm going to be completely honest here. Deadpool and Wolverine is just beating everything, and along with Despicable Me 4. Both those movies right there. Despicable Me 4 and Deadpool and Wolverine are clapping everything. So this coming out right now between those two movies is going to be bad. Alien Romulus is coming out next week, and that's going to dominate Borderlands. Let's be honest with you, those trailers look way better. I'm definitely watching that. And then what else is coming out? That Channing Tatum movie looks pretty good, actually. I mean, it might not be good, but I'm going to go see it, actually. So, yeah, Borderlands, if you can't even make any bulk of your money in opening weekend, movie's screwed. This is terrible, actually. According to Deadline's early box office numbers, it only earned about $1.32 million in its Thursday previews. That suggests a weekend in the teens at best. For Lionsgate's big-budget video game adaptation, which seems like it's struggling to find an audience. That's the thing. When anyone in Hollywood chooses to adapt adaptations of popular franchises like Borderlands, the amount of normies that would potentially have gone to watch this, if it was actually that interesting, that would want to start playing the games, you could have saw a big resurgence in the games. I'm not saying the games are going to be player-based. I imagine they have their dedicated player base. I'm not saying they don't. But the amount of people that would be more inclined to play the games if this was actually pretty good to them for watching for a movie experience. This could have been a long-running franchise. This could have obviously paid, even the creator obviously could have had more money in his pocket being lined up, because it's rumored that he didn't care what Eli Roth was going to do with the movie, and it's like, bro, you just made the biggest fumble of your life. But that's not to say he would have did exactly what he potentially wanted to do anyway either, right? Just this being this big of a fail is really bad, and they really squandered a good opportunity here. We've covered this movie's long journey to the big screen in a pretty in-depth way here at Joe Blow, and while our review was pretty damning, it's always a drag when so many talented people come together and the movie whiffs. It'll be interesting to see the cinema score rating, but according to Deadline, the average audience rating for the film was just 1.5 stars. With numbers like that, a single-digit opening weekend, sadly, isn't out of the question. Over on Rotten Tomatoes, it's only nabbed a 7% rating, which we know now is 9, which makes it one of this year's worst reviewed movies. But are we being too hard on Roth's movie? This is where you folks come in. If you happen to see it at a preview screening last night, we want your thoughts in the talkbacks. Is it as bad as they say, or is this a movie that's just getting a wild amount of hate piled on it for no good reason? We'd be especially interested to hear from avid players of the video games. Yeah, because the video games players are the ones that really should be voicing their concerns about how bad this is. And I haven't watched the movie yet at the time of me doing this video. I'm gonna watch it Thursday, 9:30 PST. You know, it just sucks that anybody that actually liked the video games gets an adaptation of one of their favorite franchises coming out like complete dog doo-doo shit. In the meantime, Deadpool and Wolverine will crack the $1 billion mark at the global box office this weekend, and the magic $500 million mark domestically. So, yeah, right now, currently, the box office in this month is going to be dominated by Deadpool Wolverine, Despicable Me 4, Alien Romulus, and probably that new Blake Lively movie, actually. I'm not getting It Ends With Us in my theaters. When does it drop, actually? Let me see. I would go watch that. It ends with us. When does this movie open, actually? This movie opens August 9th. Yeah, I didn't see it on my local movie theater website, so probably didn't get it. Gotta wait till streaming, honestly. But yeah, are you guys going to go watch the Borderlands movie? Are you a fan of the video games, and are you interested and hyped to see this? Or do you think it's gonna be an absolute massive bomb? I know it's gonna be a massive bomb. With numbers like that, there's no way this movie's salvageable. All I'll say is this: any Hollywood movie studio like Lionsgate, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Disney, wherever, if you're gonna adapt popular franchises like this, have people that really actually want to make a good product. That's actually embarrassing. The director said what he said, and he's gonna get lambasted, but the people that are behind the scenes are going to be like, oh, that's pretty cool, because they don't actually respect this stuff either. And that's the reason why this movie is going to end up failing at the box office and be a complete, absolute, colossal flop. So thank you guys for checking out this video. If you're a returning viewer or a new viewer, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and comment down below. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. I'm MSK, aka Master Swag King, and I'm signing out, guys. See you guys later. Deuces. Peace.